What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Builders of Web3 Show. My name is Antonio Ivanovsky, and today I have a very special guest that I'm very excited to chat about. Delphin Druelle. I met on LinkedIn. I loved his work. We got connected, and here we are today. Welcome, Delphin.
Hi, welcome. It's nice talking to you.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time. I know you're very busy, especially with all you do on LinkedIn, and you give people your free time, which we're going to talk about. So, um, why don't we start about you telling us a little bit about your background before this Web3, if you don't mind.
Okay. Well, I was born in 1987. Yeah, I'm 35 years old. I have a wife, I have a kid, a 2 years kid. I live in France, as you can hear in my weird accent, in a city called Nantes. It is on the west coast. And I've been working for 12 years now in different fields. So I started with a weird project. I built a company and we made a world tour of all the electronic music festivals. And that was for a year and a half, and it was a crazy job interviewing DJs and stuff like this. This was completely crazy. And with that, I love the video production part because we were filming. So after that, I created another company, and we made video production for companies, for L'Oréal, Carrefour, and big companies like this. But it was small videos. And yeah, I made it for 3 years. And after this, I had different experience in marketing, sales. I built two other companies. I made some game design also. So it's very different, and I like to change every 3 years. Something I want something new, and the Web3 is new, so I like it.
So, how did you go into Web3? You did like video production, game design, and now Web3. And are you planning to change in 3 years, move on to something new?
From now, let's in 2025. Let's see. Yeah, it will be Web 4 probably.
Web4.
Uh, my first entry doors was crypto. I made investment, and it's been 3 years now. First, I made a lot of mistakes, and I learned by doing and by investing my money. Now it's a little bit better, but it was my first entry doors. Then a year ago, I heard about NFTs. Like just I heard about it, and I was speaking with. I was working at that time in a motion design studio. I was at the sales team, but I was working with 3D artists, 2D artists, and some of them were speaking about NFT, how to they will be able to be monetized and of their work, of the digital work. And for a couple months, I was very skeptical. I didn't think it was something. And one day, some people I know just become very rich with NFT. So it intrigues me. And I went on the concept, and here I fall. It was like 7 months ago, probably, yeah, 8 months ago. I completely fall in the rabbit hole, read through rabbit hole, and yeah, I read a lot, watched everything I could watch, learned about. I was doing my own stuff just to know how it works, how to means what is the gas fee when you have to pay it. You understand what is a gas fee, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I went really far in the hole here.
That's the thing. I don't know anybody who started in Web3 or NFTs going down the rabbit hole and they said, oh no, this is not for me. I'm just gonna go back to what I was doing. It's like same thing with me. Once I started, you keep digging and you're just deeper and deeper until
Yeah, because you open doors actually, because you open one doors and behind that door there is three doors, and you open another doors, and you can love this Web3 things in different ways. You can love gaming with play to earn. You can go love the DAO or the DeFi or the NFT, and in the NFT you can love the art part, you can love the speculation part. There is many entry doors to the Web3, so it's for you to choose, right?
Right. And the one part that I love and I really agree with what you said is until you actually like burn some gas and spend some money where you're not supposed to, you're not going to learn. You know, I was reading for a long time and trying to understand that, but until I bought an NFT for $50 and paid $100 in gas by mistake because I didn't realize what I was doing, that's when you
Yeah.
start actually understanding it.
I have two funny story here. The first time I made a move of money between two exchange, I don't know, something went wrong on the copy paste something, and I just lost 200 euros like that, just disappeared somewhere in the blockchain. This is the first time I made a move of money from an exchange for another one. So for the 2 next months, I was like, I don't want to go here. So this is the first story, and the second story is I made some artworks, some art, but I'm not a very good artist. But I tried to, and I went on OpenSea, and a buyer just bought my heart, and it was like 100 euros, but I had to pay 150 in gas gas fee. So I was like, okay, so I'm selling you the things and I will lose money.
Lose
All
money.
right, this is gas fee, right?
Yeah, I bet you'll never forget about that one.
Exactly.
Um, so that's really awesome. So how do you recommend one get involved in the Web3 community? Is it just like we're talking about now, just diving in and see where it takes you, or?
Yes, I think the first thing you can do is like not read the big covering media. I think you should go deeper in Discord group, in Twitter, in LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a good place, and find some valuable sources, like people involved. And you have to learn the wording, because there is some weird word in that space, so yeah, read about, watch the videos. On YouTube, there is good and bad videos, so you have to learn to watch for the good one. There is good sources. What I did recently, I've been watching and reading a lot of things for the last year, and I say, okay, there's a lot of people asking me for resources. So I just 2 weeks ago, I think, or maybe 10 days ago, I just built a website in a week, and there is like 300 resources here: books, podcasts, newsletters, articles, I don't know, movies, a lot of things Web3 related. So I think it's a good place to find some value here.
And what's the name of the website?
I did buy the name of the site. It's superfolks.io.
Okay.
But currently, at that time, but maybe it will change in 2 days, it's superfolks.pori.app.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll share that in the show notes, and by the time the
Yeah.
podcast is out, then we're gonna put it in the description. I saw the site. I stumbled upon it. There's great resources, so I loved it.
It's a good site, and there is also the inevitable courses. It's like 5 emails and 5 lessons about NFTs. So it's not about all the Web3, but it's about NFTs, and it's a good entry doors here for very beginner people.
So so before we talk about some other stuff, I want to ask you, and this is kind of like a personal curiosity of me, is how is LinkedIn? How do you feel being on LinkedIn a creator for NFTs? Because from what I hear, or like once you get into the space, everybody talks about it's Twitter is the place to be, and like the Twitter people don't really like the LinkedIn people always. There's always memes going back and forth and stuff like that. So how has that been for you? And are you active on Twitter? And if not, do you sometimes feel like that FOMO out there?
Yeah, I was really, really active a few years ago on Twitter, but probably 3 years ago, I quit every network, everything. I just delete every account on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, a lot of shit. I shut down social media, and I kept LinkedIn
Okay.
because for my job, my last job, I was a sales, and I use it as a sales to contact prospects and clients. Um, and I knew the value of LinkedIn because this is a smaller community. You cannot have uh, 200,000 followers, and it's not followers, like connections. Um, but you have really, really interesting one-on-one discussion here. There is a lot of fantastic people that brings value on their posts. And today I'm 100% LinkedIn. I'm on Twitter, I have an account, but I'm just watching it. I'm just like, scrolling in the morning and in the evening, looking for the info I'm looking for. But right now, sometimes it's like, just FOMO things like, do you want to go on this white list and stuff like this, and say, there is less of this on LinkedIn and there is more value on LinkedIn, I think, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. That's because so about me, I have kind of been building my audience on LinkedIn more for the data science side, now for like the Web3 world. But every time I open up Twitter, like you see the big threads and stuff. But that's also been a source of a couple of times where I've gone into a project, it was because of Twitter, and every single time it has failed and it's cost me some money. So
Yeah.
necessarily just because it's on Twitter and people are saying it doesn't mean it's gonna be like the best choice for you.
It's a useful tool when you know how to use it. Twitter, it's fantastic. And when you follow the right people, it's super cool. But on LinkedIn, yeah, it's less FOMO, and it's really easy to get one-on-one discussion with Web3 people. Like, just drop a message, and 10 minutes later, you have an answer, and you start the conversation. It's crazy.
Yeah, so is it based on what I saw in your profile, you have a calendar and you allow people to book like 15 or 30-minute slots and to consult them with their NFTs for free?
Yeah, that's it.
Wow.
Once a week, every Wednesday, I open 20 slot, and it's 20 slot of 15 minutes. So it's a big day for me. And yeah, it's free. The problem is that there is a lot of demand. So the next, I think, free slots are in half of April or something like this, or maybe now probably by the end of April. So I try to do my best to have as many discussion as possible. I keep this day where actually I don't get money, but I get so much good discussion. I learn a lot also from those project leaders. I try to give in 15 minutes some ideas, some inputs, putting people in touch with other people sometimes. I try to do my best in the time valuable. But yeah, I love this day. I'm very tired by the end of the day, but I love that. And also on sales perspectives, because I have a sales background, 10% of those calls transform to clients. So
Oh,
this is
wow.
also useful for my business.
That's awesome. So, what do you now do for the money making side, right? When you're not giving away your time for free.
It was hard to find what I do because I didn't know what to put a name on it. I went full Web3 in January, so it's been less than 2 months, 2 months and a half, something like this. My first entry doors was last year when with the motion design studio, we were working on 2D assets, 3D assets, generative arts, and stuff like this for NFT projects. And those NFT project leaders were asking me, and I don't know why, but probably some inputs on marketing, on sales, on community, because there's so many on LinkedIn, stuff like that. So here I was just chatting with them and giving some info. And in January, I spoke to a little bit more than 300 project leaders in six weeks, I think. And here it was completely free. I was just talking with people to know where they're pain, their problem. And I spotted like 4 verticals on the project that there is some pain. The first is the design. The second is the technologic. The third one is marketing and communication. And the last one, which is a problem, but not everybody care, is legal legal things. So here I was listening to them. I said, okay, how can I help? So I give some advice. I put people in touch with developers, with designers, with 3D designers, with marketing agencies and stuff like this. I was getting paid by this. I was like 10% of what those people were doing was for me. But in the end, the fun was in helping and giving my brain juice, some info, because I know a lot of projects and I know how it works and I know what it doesn't work. And so now what I'm doing most of my time is from 1 hour to a day. I do strategic consulting on it very depends on the clients, but sometimes they just don't know about NFT and they want to learn how can I make a project? What does that involve? Do I need design? Do I need tech? So we talk about the smart contract. We talk about Discord. We talk about marketing. And here I just make a big picture of the project to explain them how it works and what they will be able to do and what they have to do in the future. What is a white paper? What you have to put on a white paper? What is a roadmap? How to bring utility in the project? How to bring value before the means? How to bring value to the community? This is what the idea I can give. And yeah, sometimes it's bigger workshop. It's a day of workshop for companies. And here we go deeper on subjects with different people on the company. And yeah, I love that, actually. I really like that.
Awesome.
Actually.
Sounds a lot of fun. I mean, props to you for just taking that step and be like, I'm going all in on this and let's see what happens. That's awesome.
It was I don't know if it's a hard choice, but I did have money in the bank at that time. I said, okay, I have 6 months where I can do something new. After 6 months, I will not have any more money. I will have to pay for the kids and for the house. So if it doesn't work, yeah, that's fine. I will find another job in Web2 and in 2 weeks. It's okay. Well, just try. And it did work in very quickly. So that was great.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So I'm gonna take the conversation a little bit about NFT projects. And everybody's talking about it. You have a lot of experience that you work with a lot of companies. What kind of would you say, is there one thing that kind of separates a successful NFT project from one that's maybe not successful?
That's a good question. And to precise your question is, what is a successful project? Because sometimes you can see a drop that can be successful because they're sold out, but behind that there is no much value, no much utility, and the funders will just run away with the money. So it could be a successful in terms of money for the funders, but it's not a success for the community, right? So and I think some valuable projects don't use the FOMO system, don't use the drop shipping system of how to make a lot of money very quickly with a community with 100,000 people on Discord in 2 weeks. Yeah, we know that. And those people are struggling sometimes, but they have a fantastic project. So it's a little bit weird. But now what I'm saying, what I see, it's people that want to get involved with NFT and Web3 projects, but sometimes it's not for the right reason. So I just telling them, okay, you have this company, Web2, for example, you have a product, you want to do NFT, but why? And the reason should be, why are you doing that? Do you need NFT? Is it just because of the NFT word and metaverse word and blockchain words, buzzword? Or is it because you know that there is a utility here? So the first question, and I go deep here, is how to bring this utility and to create a project that will speak to the community. That's the first thing. It's like the vision. This is really important. And if you don't have a vision in your project, if you don't have a goal, if you don't have a long-term vision, not a 3 months vision, well, probably you can have a success, a small success, but you won't be able to repeat the success over time.
Right. No, definitely. Yeah, I'm all about like long-term projects that hopefully, and so I'm a big fan of Gary Vee. I know some people like him, some people don't, but he says it. And I think based on what I'm seeing from the project he's doing is, well, he says like book games are forever, or he says he wants to, his V friends, he's looking that out in the next 45 years, right? He's not just looking for the next 3 months how to just make the most money and call it quits. So that's definitely an important aspect. How
Yeah,
do you?
things are, sorry, excuse me. Things are moving really fast in that field. Well, you know what we say, like a week is a year in Web3.
Yeah,
But it doesn't mean that you should not have a 3 years or 5 year vision on your project. Every founders of startup and big project like this, because an NFT project for me is a startup. You know, you have to gather a team and in different fields and have to do something, but you have to have a 3 to 5 years vision on your project, you know, and to bring value during that time.
yeah. So what is it? You mentioned the team. Let's say you're starting a, if I was starting, let's say an NFT collection, I'm a data scientist, so let's say something around data science, um, to give to my like LinkedIn member community, right? Um, what would you say are like, do you need a team? Can somebody do it by themselves? Is it better like to get a couple people, maybe one does marketing, another one does tech, or is there like a minimum requirement that
It
you?
really no, the minimum is one person. That's it. And maybe later there will be AI that will do NFT by themselves. But right now, one person is enough. You have a lot of people that are doing great things alone, artists, photographers, stuff like this, and even bigger project when the people can do everything and don't sleep. But yeah, one people is enough. You can mint your own art on OpenSea. You can do the communication and the marketing on your own Discord, or you can not have a Discord and just use LinkedIn or Twitter. It's enough. If you go in a bigger project, let's say, for example, a 10,000 drop of PFP NFT. Here, at least, I think you need 5 people on the different verticals. Probably somebody who will lead the design, and on the design, I mean 2D, 3D, generative art, probably the website design and stuff like this. You will need a tech team or a tech guy that will be able to do the smart contract, because probably you don't want to use a simple smart contract. You probably don't want to do something a little bit more complex. So here you will need at least one people, and probably more. And you will need the marketing communication here. in fact, your job as a founder will be to project management all this. And on the communication and marketing, there is different things. There is community management, but also moderation, on the Discord. If you go on a big project, you cannot do that alone. You don't have time to do that alone. You have to think about a lot of things and just manage to have all those pieces of the project working together.
Yeah, no, definitely that makes sense because, and I think like growing a community, especially, I mean, it's a full-time job. Uh, but if somebody who is like a one person and who's a photographer or stuff, do you believe that is it a must-have basically to have like a Discord channel and stuff, or is that just like the bigger projects kind of going towards that way?
I would love to say that you don't need a Discord, because I'm not a huge Discord fan, actually. I'm on Discord, yeah, because you have to, but I'm not a huge fan of Discord, right? So you have to, I think, have a Discord, because that's where people are talking and stuff like this. But I think that if you already have a community, let's not call it Web2 community, but like a normal community, you were working for a long time on Instagram, on TikTok, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, any space. Your goal here is to be very consistent with your content. And I had a discussion, like it was yesterday or the day before, with the people, an artist, and she was saying to me, how should I call myself? An NFT artist or artist? I say, well, just artist. The NFT is not the medium. The NFT is a way for you to get paid in a good way, because you will get royalties and stuff like this. But you are not an NFT artist. In fact, you are an artist doing painting, doing sculpture and stuff like this, using the NFT technology. Yeah. And I think the consistency of the content and to every day talk about your work for a long period of time is important. I knew a guy, now he sold a very expensive art on OpenSea. But he started like a year ago, and he was doing nothing for 8 months, but he was trying hard, and now it's like just boom.
Wow, that's great to hear. Speaking of like OpenSea and like the gas fees that we spoke about before, for smaller artists, I mean, I love, by the way, I have to say that I love that you're an artist, right? NFTs are just a technology. Like if you are a developer or something, you're not gonna call yourself like a C# developer, right? You're a developer and you do everything you need to do. But about OpenSea regards, and I get it for the big projects, right? Bored Ape should be on Ethereum. Like let's say VFriends, they're on Ethereum and stuff. What about somebody who's small, like has a small community, kind of like a photographer that you said? Do you recommend to them to put their projects out on Ethereum, or do you go on a layer 2, maybe like a Polygon, or maybe
Solana.
Mutable X or something like Solana? What's your take on that?
Every time it's a questions I find hard to answer, and because if you go on Ethereum, you will touch more people. But if you sell something at $20 and you have $100 of gas fee, well, something is wrong.
Yeah.
So I think a good way is to start with Polygon or with Solana, and because you will, if you are a starting artist with NFT, you will not be featured on the first page of OpenSea, so you don't care to bring too many people here. If you are doing one art every week, you just need one buyers every week. So if you go on Polygon and you convince people to buy your art, there's no problem. People will have their wallet. Even if they don't have Polygon, they will swap and get Polygon at Matic, actually. But it's not a big problem. So I would recommend to go on Matic, Polygon, on Solana to start and to try to sell here. And later, why not to go back to Ethereum, and for bigger projects, I would recommend Ethereum. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and because I was thinking about that, right? Like if you're smaller and you're starting out, and if you generate 1,000, let's say just 1,000, not you're not even doing like a 10,000 collection, and you're going on Ethereum. I mean, your pocket, you better have deep pockets if you even want to start on there, right? It's not like just I
Yeah.
have I have $100, I'm just gonna put everything on Ethereum and call it a day.
And you are in the US and I'm in France, and we can probably spend €100 on something. But there is a lot of artists in other country when €100 is really expensive. It's really expensive.
Yep.
So yeah, the layer 2 is great for that.
No, thank you. Appreciate that. So going a little bit back to you, and I know we're jumping around a little bit, but right, this is about the builders, right? So how do you personally, and I wanted to ask this before, but you say you quit social media about like 4 years ago, so I assuming maybe like sometimes it gets too much, or maybe like there's burnout. How do you avoid that in this space currently? Like I know you have a family, right? You have kids, because it's easy. I mean, I know, but just for myself, I'm reading stuff and there's so much information coming from every side, and sometimes I just want to like shut everything off. I'm like, I
Yeah.
have no idea what is happening. Do you have any tips on how somebody can do this stuff but like avoid that burnout?
It's super cool subject here, and you're right. When I just left every social media, it was because I'm at a burnout, and I was also like, um, mm, well, it's a long story, but I overpromised something and didn't make that happen. So I was cyberbullied. I don't know how would you say in English, cyberbullied. I don't know,
Uh,
with death threats and stuff like this
wow.
on social media. So I had to quit everything, and I just quit uh, almost the computer things,
Yeah.
like just not going here. It was a hard time, but well, I get back, and when it's good. But the question about the burnout is really, really important. A few weeks ago, I had so many, because you open so many doors, because you have so many great conversation with great leaders that want to get you involved in projects, and to have this and this. You have so many things in mind, and at one time, it could be overwhelmed, and 4 5 weeks ago, I was that feeling like, wow, I have to close doors to be more focused on my clients first, and on things I want to do. And the thing is that you have to close some doors, and by doors I mean project or opportunities, to really focus on 1 2 or 3 things that you can schedule in your calendar, and to just not put your brain everywhere, because in that space, everything is fun, everything is great,
Yes.
and you can do everything. I was talking with play to earn game people, saying, okay, you should play this, play that, you should invest in this, you should do that and this. And one day, say, okay, I'm just gonna do my Bitcoin and Ethereum thing, and probably 4 or 5 altcoins, but I will not do so many.
Yeah.
And but that's a hard thing.
Yeah, for sure. And that's so I'm part of a Charlie DAO, so it's we a community of builders, right? We hang out, we learn together, and just try to build projects. So one of the projects I'm working on with cool friends of mine are like an NFT analyzer, basically doing analysis for an NFT projects and kind of trying to guide the founders of a community, kind of like give them insights into their projects. So that's one thing we're trying to get out the door. Then I want to learn how to the games, how they work, so I start coding on that, and then also on the side I want to do like I have ideas for an NFT collection, and then on top of that, I have a 5-month-old baby. I have my wife. I have my day job, and you're like, oh my God, I need to
Yeah,
like focus one thing at a time. It's everything is shiny, and I love everything, but I can't get
yeah,
to all of it.
and everything is interesting. It's not for bad reason. It's like everything is good actually.
Right.
And you know what we say in this field is like you have your day job, and at night you're doing Web3, and there's a
Yeah.
lot of people doing that at night, because actually this is a hard step. Now it's getting more and more like obvious that the Web3 is not going to run away. But a few months ago, you would say, okay, do I quit my job just to go on something that will probably
Yeah.
shut down in a month or year? So it was a hard for people to say, okay, I'm going all in on Web3. And an important thing is to have a family life and work balance, and to be able to sleep also, because
Yeah.
I see a lot of people that don't sleep. And I said this, but this night I had a white night. This is what we say. I didn't sleep for the whole night
Yeah.
because I was thinking of something, and it happens. It happens really often in the Web3 space, right?
Right. No, definitely. Like my wife's like, "What time did you go to bed and why?" And I'm like, "I was working on something, and
Yeah.
I love the JPEGs got me." Um,
Yeah, but it's fun because it's a field that is new and that people love actually, because you don't work at night if it's
it's not
boring or if you don't like it. And
right.
sometimes you know, I made this website Superfolks like in a couple of nights, and I was on the flow like working
Yeah.
very fast, and you don't see the time, and you just look at your watch and say, okay, it's 4 in the morning. I will have probably to go to sleep now.
Right. Oh man, it's a good time to be here, and that's what I like about it is I was too young and I missed that whole the 90s bubble where the internet was being built, and now this is like we have a chance to create something from scratch, and I love it. Um, so what about the people who like, who look at this space and say like 99% of NFT projects will fail, or all of this is a scam, and like I don't believe in this. Do you have anything to say to them basically, like to um
I will say to them, you're probably right. Yeah, a lot of projects are going to fail. Uh, we have to know that it's the Far West, actually. We are in a bubble, and we have to know that. There is a lot of money from VC, from investors, from projects that make millions in a few months. So we know that we are in a bubble, and we have to know that. We have to know that one day it will explode. That's it. It will explode. And uh, like the Web2 bubble, there's a lot of brand and projects that you will not heard about in 2 years. They will just disappear. Um, and so for this, you have to have in mind uh, how, and we go back to that, but how can I bring value on the long term, on a 3 years or 5 year basis? Um, how do I make the community and the people that are buying my NFT, it can be called clients actually, to stick with your brand and with your project? This is really important because your community on Web3 is your value, is really what will stick in the long term. And you have to care for this community, but not just for 3 months, not just for 3 months.
right. So do you think, and I posted about this yesterday on LinkedIn, and it was like, uh do you think if somebody's just doing, like a photographer wants to sell their photos as art, do you think if they're gonna make it into an NFT, it should have some kind of utility, or can you just sell the art for the heck of it?
Oh, you can just sell the art for the heck of the art, and this is beautiful. Uh, and and yes, it works. And I know a couple of example, more example that it works. Um, If after that you bring utility, it's not financial utilities or something you give. It could be like access to a Discord where you do ask me anything, where you can showcase your work or how you do it, or explain how you work, or you can make a video of you shooting pictures, or you can bring content. It's like a Patreon things. You reward your community with content that is interesting, and this is valuable. This is value, actually. And here you create value with your project. If I follow a photographer and I'm following him in this story, where he's going to take picture, why he do that, why did he choose this, if he's photographing people, if I can talk with those people, or if I can have conferences, this is valuable, and I will be more inclined to buy his NFT, her NFT.
So do you see, we've been talking about artists and things like that, but what about somebody like me who is like into data science, like doing educational videos and basically for course creators, things like that? Do you think there is space in that, like creating an NFT and stuff like that?
Yes, there is a lot of things that you can do. I think that new platforms will rise when creators will be better paid than now. And I think that content creation will be better paid and rewarded. But you can think of many things. You can, for example, say an NFT could have access to a Discord, which is a university or something. And here you will have valuable informations about any subject, and people will have to pay to get here and to have these things. And if people don't like it, well, it will resell it, So yeah, you can use this as the entry doors to your content. And also there is, multiple things. For example, if you do newsletters, on each newsletter, you can have artwork or drawings or something. And each week, if it's a weekly newsletter, you can put it like NFT, art NFT. There is a ton of possibilities, and we are just at the beginning, and this is really exciting.
I like that. Yeah, I like that it's inclusive space, right? There's room for anybody. You just have to be creative and figure out how do you get value. I mean, I know it's easier said than done because, right, like, oh, be creative, but when it's such a new space, it's not easy to be creative, right? It's work.
And sometimes I say to my clients or to the people I am talking to, maybe you don't need to make your own NFT project, maybe you can just find somebody who would do something nice and try to help him, and by helping him here, you can learn a lot. You can share your experience. You can give her your experience, giving your experience. To create things from yourself, it's not the alpha and omega of things. You can work for other people that have nice projects.
Yeah. So that's one way to get involved. What are other ways to get involved in the Web3 community? For somebody, maybe not even full time. Maybe like they have some part time. They want to get involved in some projects.
Yeah.
What are some ways? I know maybe like the one thing I can think of is maybe helping managing like a community of a Discord or something. But is there other ways?
There is multiple ways, and you can create content. This is great. You can share information. You can teach people who don't know about Web3. It could be your friends, your mom, anybody. You can speak about that, and this is important. You can, as you say, go on and say to the founders, can I manage? Can I moderate the Discord or do something here? You can, if you're developers, you can say, okay, how can I help review the code or something? Or you should ask the founders. If a founder have the project team have a project, you can say, I'm willing to help, even for free and for 1 hour or 2 hours per week. What can I do? Is there some room for me? And feel free to ask. They will tell you, no, thanks, or yes, you can do that, and here it's a win.
Yeah. Just got to put yourself out there. And that's what I've noticed. The community seems to be very welcoming. And I don't know too many projects that everybody needs some help, right? There's so many things that need to be done. Usually everybody could use some help.
I was speaking about that today, so that's funny. About,
um,
yeah, people wanted you to want you to help, and you say, okay. And for a founder perspective, for a project leader perspective, when a lot of people ask you, how can I help? One, it's great because it proves that your project has value and is something interesting. But on the other side, if you have 10 or 1,000 of people asking you how I can help, you have to manage that. Yeah. I have to put some rooms for them and it takes time. So you have to say no sometimes, I think.
for sure. So yeah, okay. So let's shift gears a little bit. It's still saying in the same dimension, but focusing a little bit on the founder. The one problem I would love to hear your advice from is, so in my Discord community or other Discord communities I've seen too, people talk about like when people co-found a project or you have multiple co-founders, there's a lot of times things don't work out based on like maybe how you divide up the project and then one person putting in more work than the other and then the conflicts arise. Do you have any advice? I know would be appreciated by a lot of my audience in terms of how the percentages should be divided, or is it not
Yeah.
percentages? Or
Um, I think that there is no secret, and it's like in Web2, it's
right,
like when you create a startup, the more you are, the more it's complicated. If you have 5 partners with 20% each, it's complicated. I think the best thing is to have one leader that will take the last call on any decision. This is an important thing. The other things is how you structures your project. Is it a DAO? Is it a company? Is it a French-based company, US-based company? I don't know, Swiss-based or
yeah.
Cayman Island company? And here in the status, you have to write who is in charge of the company, who is founders, and you split the money already there. You talk about that. The thing is, you have to talk about those subjects very, very early on. Because at the beginning of the project, you don't want to talk about it. You want to talk about the idea. You want to talk about how we're going to do that and all the exciting things. And the managing things is not very exciting, right? But
Right.
you have to talk about it very early for every people to be on the same page. And one thing you can do is, in the end, what will be the right things will be the smart contract. It will be on the smart contract. But before that, you can do a moral contract. I call it like this. There is no juridic defense or something like that, but this is a moral contract when everybody signs and say, okay, I agree to be on that project. Do not speak about if we are not going to speak about at that time, and to share the money that way. And
Yeah.
this will be very early in the project. And also, and it's the same when you build a company, you should say, okay, if it doesn't work, how we're going to separate and to
Mm,
split the money. And it should be already there. Like, if we fail, are we still going to be friends and stuff like this? Yeah, but you have to talk about it,
yeah.
right?
Like a prenup.
Exactly.
Who's going to take care of the kids? I mean, hopefully it never
Exactly.
gets there.
Exactly.
No, no, people will love that advice because I think, like you're saying, is nobody wants to talk about it. It's a very tough conversation, but it's absolutely necessary. Um,
Yeah, it's like the legal part. Nobody wants to talk about it, but yeah,
yeah.
you will have money. How do you take care of that money? How do you pay the bread in the end? How do you split the money? How does your smart contract work? Do you have a specific wallet for the project? How does it work? And you very early on the project, you have you have to talk about it. It's because if you don't, you will have problem. When there is money, there is problem.
Yep.
That's for sure. And every project, when there is money, there is problem.
Yes.
Even if it's your best friend or your mom or your dad or anybody.
I love that. Yeah, no, it's you're 100% right. So I appreciate you sharing that. So, we have a little bit about 10 minutes left, and the one thing I keep thinking about, and again, right, this is about the builder, is your experience with the whole with EDM industry and stuff. Um, Going to I remember seeing I was very impressed seeing your LinkedIn and seeing you like you've been to different festivals and stuff. So I'm a huge fan. Like soon as I turned 18, I went to Ultra Miami back in
Great
the day,
festival.
and me and my wife have tickets to Tomorrowland for the summer, which has been my
Yeah,
dream ever since I can remember.
I'm going
Uh,
too. We should meet.
no way, we can do
Yeah,
another
for sure.
podcast from there.
I go every year. Every year.
Wow, we're
I love
doing
that. This is the best festival in the world. Clearly.
I ever since I've known about EDM, I've been just listening to for the last 10 years. And at one point, I wasn't even 18, so I was like always wanted to go. And then I didn't have money. And then once I started having enough money, my wife and I bought tickets for the 2020 festival, and it's canceled
Oh,
because of COVID. So
yeah.
now last year got canceled again, right? And finally this year we have the two tickets, and now we have a baby. But we said we're not skipping it. So we're bringing grandma with us. She's gonna stay in the hotel with the baby while we go to the festival.
Yeah,
And I'm like, I cannot wait one more year because this has literally been my dream forever.
yeah.
Um,
This is the best event, electronic music festival event in the world, clearly. And I cannot, you cannot compare it with Burning Man. It is not,
mm,
you cannot compare that because
yeah,
Burning Man for me, it's not an electronic music festival. There is electronic music, but it's not a music festival.
right.
And yeah, it's so great, you know. And the one problem in this festival is that you have at the same times 10 DJs good that you want to
Mhm.
hear, and you have to choose, right?
Yeah. But that's a good problem to have.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh, but so we were talking about music, right? And I got a little carried away because of Tomorrowland, and it's very very exciting to go there. Um, Well, basically, my question was around that. Do you think that side of you and going to these creative festivals, right? Because Tomorrowland's very creative, even the stages, the design and stuff. Do you think that has shaped you as that person to be more creative on the NFT side, or how do you think your life experience on that front have shaped you
um,
into this world?
I think that every experience you have just shapes you. And when you see my background, it looks like sometimes weird. You know, I was participating to festivals and I moved to video production, and then I work in an agency, and then I made some game design for big companies. But in my mind, everything is clear, and there's always a link between all this. And all this experience brings me today a lot of vision on things, you know, like artistic vision, because um, I've been talking with a lot of artists, 3D, 2D, illustrators, stuff like this, musical things. So, yeah, video production, but also the marketing side of things and how to do a website and how to do social networks and you know, mailing stuff, where and sales also, to be able to talk about a project and to find clients. This is so everything is very valuable in your life, and
Yeah.
every experience is great. And even the experience that is not non-professional, like if you are in a sport team or something like this, you can bring that in a project.
No, yeah, that's very interesting because sometimes I feel like, okay, maybe this is not I'm doing something in my day job, right? It's not really taking me because I know long term I definitely want to be in the Web3 world, but I'm not ready to make that jump yet because I also enjoy my day job, right? It's not I'm not miserable at my day job, so I'm also enjoying that part.
Yeah.
So I'm trying, like sometimes I feel bad about it. I'm like, okay, maybe I'm not giving it my all, but I just guess I gotta have to see how I can extract value from there and learn and bring it into
Yeah,
the other side.
and you don't need to rush things actually, because the Web3 is going to be there for a long time in different ways. It will evolve, but it's not going to run away. No. So there is a lot of people right now saying, okay, should I quit my Web2 job to go and jump on Web3? No, it depends on a lot of things. You have a baby, you are a father, you have to take care of it. You have a bills to pay, house, some things. You cannot just run away from all of this. And also, one important things we can talk about is about when you are in the Web3 industries. Uh, don't forget that there 80% or maybe more are not on that field. And and when I'm talking with some friends, sometimes I say, okay, I should stop talking every time about NFT, crypto, stuff like this, because it's like they don't care. Actually, they don't care. They don't know about it. So
Yeah.
yeah, sometimes they ask me questions and I answer, but sometimes I say, just don't talk about this. Talk about soccer or anything else, and it's the same things in a couple. When your partner is not Web3 and you are Web3, you should be careful. You should be careful. You should really, really, really. You
Yeah.
can mess up something really fast here because you can just talk about NFT and stuff all day long, and because you are passionate, because it's really interesting for you and not for everybody. Don't forget that.
My wife is gonna love that advice because yeah, definitely like every time she's like, "What you do?" Like, "Oh, this NFT and that NFT," and she's starting to get it. She's jumping on the bandwagon slowly, but I'm kind of relating to her. Like she likes music and stuff. I'm like, well, what if you could do
Yeah,
this and your artist gives you this one of a kind access and stuff? She's like, okay, I get it. I'm starting to get it, but at the same time, sometimes she's like, you're always like talking about this.
yeah, and like 2 weeks ago, I made a poll on LinkedIn asking, does your entourage, your family knows what you're doing as your day job? And it was like, I think 80% say no, they don't know what I do.
Yeah.
And this is kind of a problem because in this kind of project, if you are an NFT project leader or something like this, you want your family and friends to push you, to be on your side. Just don't do it on your side and say, okay, I do something NFT. You need help, you need support, from your wife, from your husband, for your kids. And you have to talk about it, but not all day long.
Yes. Yeah, and I just wanted to play, yeah, like my wife is totally like we have some money set aside, right? And I think that's a big disclaimer. I think you would back me up on that, especially if you're playing with NFTs and just buying and learning and speculating. Play with money you can afford to lose. So we
Oh
have
yeah,
like a budget set aside, and she's like, with this money, do whatever you want. Hope just like don't touch anything else,
exactly. This is really
because
important. Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely a risky space. And I used to think that everybody who buys an NFT is a millionaire just based off of like crypto Twitter. And then I really quickly realized that it's not very easy to if you like buy an NFT and you try to sell it and there's 5,000, let's say, other ones who are trying to sell theirs as well, and they're all very similar. Unless you go like below floor price or something like that, it's not very easy to get rid of it. So I've learned
Yeah.
that it's not a liquid asset as I thought it was, right? It's hard.
Yeah, and I don't. So I don't do NFT buying
Right.
advice.
Yeah.
Never, because I'm myself. I'm not an OG and I'm not an NFT buyers.
Yeah.
I have some, but I'm not. I'm not doing that. I have my the money I put from my work, I put it on different things, on crypto, on NFT, on the, how do you say, the on Wall Street. I
Yeah.
don't know the word in English.
Yeah, like
Uh,
stocks.
yeah, stocks, exactly, and somewhere else. But what I will recommend is when you have a project, the first thing is, do you know, do you love this NFT, even if it lose every value? Will you be glad to have this object on a screen or somewhere else? And the second tips is buy two. First, you sell the first one to refund the two one, and you keep one. And if it goes up, that's great. If you lose money, well, you already refund your buying, you know?
I love that, and that's been my thing. I bought like one NFT, and if it's going up in value, I'm like I can't sell it because I mean, one thing I want to sell it because I want to get my money back, but then the other thing is I don't want to miss out on potential other games because I really believe in it. And now I'm kind of like stuck with just one of them, and the money's just sitting there, and I'm nowhere right now, right?
Yeah.
Might have been even better off not buying it in the first place because now I'm in like a very awkward position. So I wish that I knew that advice
Yeah.
when I first bought it.
If there is some other advice, try to be on whitelist and on the first means,
Yeah,
even if it's sometimes hard, but it is where you can do a little bit of money if money is your things.
right.
Don't buy it 3 or 4 days after the launch, because sometimes it's where the market is really high. And after that, you can wait 3 or 4 months to buy, because you have to see if the project is fine, the founders, the community is well, and stuff like this. So be aware of the FOMO things, and don't be stressed. You know, there is
Yeah.
time, and if it's not that project, there will be another project. Everything will be fine.
Yeah.
And yes, you should. This is very. It's like an investment. If you just buy one or two or three NFTs, the probability to lose is high. So, and I don't say that you should do that, but when one people can invest in 50 projects or 100 projects, yeah, it will lose on some, but it will win on other. So, and that's weird, but the more you have money, the more you will make money. It's capitalism 101, you know?
Yeah. Money makes money, definitely in this space. So none, just for the viewers, none of this is financial advice, right? Always do
No,
your
no,
own
no.
research. We're gonna make
Exactly.
that disclaimer. We're just here talking about it and learning
No,
as we
with
go.
big, like, do your own research on the screen, you know?
Yes. And then I guess last question. You say you've interviewed DJs and stuff. Who is like your favorite that you have, or maybe like most popular that I would know that you've talked to, or at least
Uh,
met in a
if
certain
you
way?
take, it was in 2011, something like this, 2010. If you take the 100 most famous DJ at that time, I interview almost 80% of that people. So Polo Akenfold, Steve Aoki, David Guetta, even Skrillex. I don't know if,
Skrillex is my guy.
yeah, but at that time it was not very famous,
Right.
and it was very funny to make an interview of him. But yeah, too many DJs were great. Those people were great, and in fact, we were not um, the right journalist with the right questions. We were just asking funny questions with them,
Okay.
and because we made a lot of events, we saw them multiple times. And you know, my name in French, Delphin, it's not common. It's rare. I
Okay.
probably know one or two Delphin. And my friend by that time, his name was Fulk, which is also very, very rare. So every time we were meeting those DJs, say, okay, this is Delphin Fulk, and this is funny. And yeah, and the nicest guy, I think it's probably Steve Aoki.
Oh man.
Uh, Really cool guy. works a lot, and I know I love that now he's very involved in NFT.
He's gonna
This
be
is
at the
crazy.
VCon. Yeah, he's performing at Gary V's
Exactly.
conference, and
Yeah.
he. Wow, you met Skrillex, and Skrillex is like a shy person, and I feel like naturally based on what I know about him. So,
Yeah, and it was not. It was in Creamfields in Liverpool, and it was not very famous by that time. It was the
yeah.
beginning of Skrillex, and I loved what he did. And one other story that is funny, I was in the backstage on a festival in Croatia, I think, and I was talking to a guy on the DJ room, and I was talking with him for an hour probably. And in the end, he say, "Okay, I have to go. This is my show now." And he just take something, and it was like a dead mouse head, and it just went on the
No
stage. I
way.
said, "No way!" That was crazy. That was crazy.
Wow. Man, we're gonna have to do a special episode just on that. Um,
Yeah,
definitely.
I do have 100 story to tell if you want.
I do want, and that's the thing. I'm very upset that Skrillex doesn't. He wasn't very well received at Tomorrowland when he did perform, so he hasn't been really going to Tomorrowland. It's not really his genre. But when I went to Ultra Miami, he closed out the festival, and it was like the best set like I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But it's okay. I mean, this year we'll see what happens. There's X on the lineup. Everybody thinks it's Hardwell making a comeback. I think it's him. I'm hoping it's him.
We'll see.
Uh, but we'll see. Well, on that note, I really appreciate you being here with me today. I had a lot of fun.
It was a good
Um,
moment,
yeah,
good time.
I learned a lot. Hopefully, the viewers learned a lot too. And I'll
Hope
put in
to.
the show notes. Follow you on LinkedIn. You always put out great resources, and not just yours. You let other community members take over your channel, which I think is very courageous. But I love it. I think it's a great idea.
That gives
And
the key of my channel.
yes, and then I'll see you at Tomorrowland if all goes well.
That would be so nice.
Yes.
Have a great bye bye. Great time.
Thank you.